Thursday night at 5 o'clock at the Warrior Healing Center. And I'm Robert Oshoy, your host. And this is our fourth show now. And this week's guest, Dan, introduce your full name.
Dan Maycumber, the Antelope Run Woodshop.
Okay. So we got some fun stuff to talk about. Now, you don't see Eric in the background, but he's still here. Eric, my co-host and my technician. Eric, are you there?
Right here.
Check that out. We got some new technologies, and Eric can sit back there and keep track of everything and monitor our comments.
I'm off on a remote site way far beyond the distance, aka 3 to 6 feet. So by all means, everyone, go ahead and enjoy this hour of outstanding veteran-owned business conversation. While you're doing that, feel free to get your questions together. Go ahead and ask at any time. Also, like this interview, go ahead and share it. Go ahead and put it on your Facebook page or whatever platform you're watching on, and go ahead and send it out there. The more views we get, the more people visit our businesses. So by all means, get ready, sit back, and enjoy some outstanding conversation.
And thank you, Eric. And that is definitely a great way to just support veteran-owned businesses is simply hit that share button. That's all you got to do. Appreciate it. All right, Eric, you can jump in anytime. You know that. So tonight is all about Dan, though. So Dan owns, like he said, Antelope Run. Well, first of all, I got to ask you, where's the name come from?
So the name comes from where I live. So it's a subdivision out there by Ramsey Canyon. That's where I live. So I kind of wanted it to name it Antelope Run Woodshop.
Okay, well that's pretty simple because I like the name. I think it's really catchy, Antelope Run, and I was like, but I was trying to connect that with the wood.
Yep.
And I was like, where's that fit in? But it's where you live.
Yep.
Okay. Well, now everybody knows where you live. See,
that's it.
It's out there.
It's out there.
It's out there. He lives on Antelope Run. So, okay, I like the name. It's catchy and it fits with the wood concept for some reason. I don't know, but okay. So you have a shop.
Yes.
And it's at your home.
It is.
Okay. So I want to stress that. Now, the first 3 shows we've had veterans on, it's been our first 2 we've had veterans that have brick and mortar.
Mm-hmm.
But I want you to understand there's a lot of veterans out there that own businesses out of their homes. And they're doing great things, fantastic stuff. So don't always think that they have a storefront that you can just go to, you know.
Would love to one day. But
yeah.
Yeah.
But so for now, it's out of your home.
Right now, it's out of my garage. Just a 3-car garage that is all my wood shop.
Oh, sure. Yep.
Yep.
And a lot of equipment, I imagine.
A lot, yes.
Yes. A lot of expensive equipment.
It is. It has been quite expensive, yes.
So you can do this kind of work for a hobby.
Yep.
But be prepared to spend some bucks on those equipment. You know,
if you really want to dial in, your cuts and get things to be exact and perfect, you got to have the right equipment to do it.
Yeah, and the skill.
Yeah.
You can have the skill if you don't have the equipment.
Yep.
It's not going to work.
Yep.
Even with the skill, you got to have both.
You got to have both.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, I don't know a lot about it, but my father, retired Army, he's a 20-year man. And when he always liked wood. I got a little bit of wood in the family. Okay, I got a grandfather that was a master carpenter back in the day when you did everything yourself,
mm-hmm.
from foundation to finish. And he was born in the late 1800s, master carpenter. And then my dad, when he graduated from or retired, he went to school for cabinetry, got a degree, and he never did much more than the home shop, but he liked to go out there and build things.
Right.
And the smell of wood. I love that.
Yeah. It's the same kind of story for me. My father was in the military as well. He retired. He was a warrant officer. Retired after 20 years. He grew up on a farm. On farms back in the day, you had to do everything yourselves.
Yeah.
So that's where kind of he learned woodworking and building stuff up around the home. And as I was growing up as a kid, that's what he taught me. Everywhere we went, we did something to the house,
Mhm.
built things and did things. So that's kind of where I learned the passion for it.
Yeah. And I have to say, just even with my father, the idea of wood, I mean, the smell of wood, the feel of wood, I always really liked it. Versus like say working on cars. No, I don't. Metal, cold metal, hot metal. I no, don't enjoy it at all. But a piece of wood to work with it, I don't have the skill,
Yeah.
and I don't have the tools, so I don't really do much. But I can see where it would be very gratifying, is what I'm saying.
It is very. It's kind of like it's my wind down time. Believe it or not, even though it's a lot of work, it's soothing for me.
Yeah, and I can see that where it just, I think of Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and he talks about that type of work that's so fulfilling that it takes you to a higher level, and I could see that in woodwork that that you're an artist, you're creating something that you can say I built that. It's got to be very, very enjoyable and satisfactory.
It is.
Yeah.
Yep.
So now it's interesting because this is a little town, Sierra Vista, right? We got a lot more going on here than people realize.
There is.
And you're not the only woodworker in town.
That's correct.
Tell me about this one guy I heard a little bit about, Clyde.
Yeah, Clyde is he's a master craftsman, and he specializes in stairs. It's his business Top Tread Stairways just off of Mosen Road. Nationally known. I mean, he's fantastic. He's also got a huge selection of just about any kind of wood you ever want to get. So I go to him a lot to get my wood. To get my wood.
And you can get all the high quality woods, like some of them I heard about is like, Purple Heart.
Purple Heart.
Which is a gorgeous, kind of like a light purple color.
Yep.
Any kind of wood
Any kind of wood. Canary wood, bloodwood, Paduke, oak.
Yep.
You name it. Maple.
And you can get it right here.
Right here in Sierra Vista.
So somebody, if you want, now we're not talking cheap wood. We're talking expensive, exotic, high quality woods. You're going to pay for it. I mean, let's be honest. You're going to pay for quality. But if you want a piece of furniture made of high quality wood, even if it's something small like a table or a nightstand or something, but you got a special spot for it, you could contact Dan. He can get the wood right here locally available and build you something.
Yep.
Am I right?
Absolutely.
Pretty much anything they want. I mean, within
pretty much. Really, we're limited to the customer's imagination.
Okay. And this is gonna. I mean, let's face it. You buy a piece of furniture or something like that. It's something you want to keep for a lifetime.
Absolutely.
And maybe even hand it down to the family. I think back in the old days, my parents. That's kind of the way it was. They didn't go shopping for furniture every 3 or 4 years like we kind of do today because things fall apart.
Yep.
I mean, let's be honest. I mean, the quality isn't there, so it doesn't last. They would buy things to last. So that's what we have with the workmanship. So looking into this, I was fascinated. It's almost like Sierra Vista is a hot spot for wood craftsmen.
Yeah,
I'm kind of getting that impression.
I mean, if you look around, what do we really have in Sierra Vista? It's the big box stores.
Yes.
And when you go to those big box stores, I mean, you're getting pre-made kind of stuff that's not always high quality, or stuff that you may be used to seeing that your parents bought or your grandparents bought. They handed down generations after generations. So that quality of workmanship just isn't around anymore. So I think we're slowly getting back to that as a
Yeah.
as a country, really.
Yeah, I want quality.
Yep.
And something that's going to hold up, and something I can enjoy, and maybe even pass down to maybe one of my children, that kind of thing. Matter of fact, I still have my dad. Like I said, he just kind of played around, but he did these cute little wooden rocking horses that he made.
Yep.
He had a pattern, and he followed. I still have one in my garage.
Yeah.
Even though all my kids are grown up, I can't get rid of that rocking horse because it's, my dad made it.
Yep.
And he's
Absolutely.
gone. He's passed on. And now my son is adamant about, don't get rid of that rocking horse, Dad, because when I'm ready, you're giving it to me. I said, okay. So it's that kind of thing. I'm getting kind of even a little sentimental here, because, about hand-me-downs like
Yep.
that. Something that you cherish.
Yep. They're special.
Yeah. So very interesting. And I think I'm really glad you're on this week, because I think about, okay, we've got people here in Sierra Vista like yourself that are real craftsmen. And I'm even going to say an artist. You're a craftsman at your skill. You have the tools, the huge investment you make in tools, but you don't have that storefront where you're visible driving by.
Yep.
So people are probably completely unaware that we have that available right here in town, that you exist and that you can make quality furniture. Now on your website, I noticed you have a lot of the, I'm going to try to say it right. I don't know why I missed Adirondack.
Adirondack.
I was close.
You were close.
Adirondack chairs, which are named after what?
Well, it comes out of the Northeast and the Adirondack Mountains. Yeah.
So named after mountains in what state? Like
upper Northeast,
New York.
And Massachusetts.
But there are certain type of lawn chair, which would kind of explain it.
Yeah, so it's Adirondacks are kind of built to be where you sit lower to the ground, have an angled back to it that they actually take a lot of stress off of the back. When you sit in one, you can just feel kind of the stress coming out of your back, and if they're made right, you can sit in them for hours, and you kind of think, a wood chair, I can sit in a wood chair for hours. You can if they're made right,
and they're comfortable. Okay, so back problems. Okay, we live in Sierra Vista. We got a lot of obviously veterans, ex-military, and I personally know a lot of people out there that have back problems. Let's face it, I was in the 82nd Airborne. I got back problems.
Yeah.
If you've served, if you've been deployed, you probably have back problems. There's an answer. A chair that actually can relieve that stress off your back, and you can relax and be comfortable.
Yep.
In these chairs, and they're made of good wood, very sturdy.
Yep. They're made out of. I do all my chairs out of Western redwoods, red cedar. Comes out of Alaska and Washington State, and I've started to incorporate redwood, which is another great outdoors wood. They're both woods are rot resistant. The insects don't like them because of the resins in the wood. They don't rot. I use all stainless steel hardware, so it won't rust or anything like that. And I use waterproof glue behind all of the screws, so it's
so they can be out in a monsoon, and
you can leave it out year long, all year long. Even out here in the Arizona weather, they will hold up for generations.
And the two woods you just mentioned, I personally like both. I mean, cedar and redwood. You can't go wrong with that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just high quality woods, great, especially for outdoor furniture. This isn't stuff made out of just, cheap pine or something. This is high quality wood, chairs. And then you also, on your website, I noticed you do the cornhole boards.
Yeah.
Cornhole boards. These are kind of fat. This is a big, I didn't realize it's as big as it is, because there's even a national association.
There is.
Of cornhole, boy, I have a speech impediment. cornhole
board.
board. Thank you. Say it, Eric.
Cornhole boards.
Thank you.
There
Or
you
you can
go.
call them bags, bag boards.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and these are the boards you make where for the game where you can toss
Yep,
into
you
the
can
hole.
toss
Yeah.
the bags into the hole.
And,
Yeah, I get a lot of requests for those.
Okay. So that's another item that's pretty popular.
Yep.
And I'll be honest, I checked your prices on your website, and then I did some searching, like that, American Association.
Yep.
I was like, oh, you're right there. You're right there. So very price competitive. All his prices on both your chairs. And again, I'm comparing apples to apples. I'm not comparing his chairs to a plastic lawn chair. It's not. I'm not comparing apples to
Yeah.
oranges. But when I looked and I compared apples to apples on what you're charging for your product to what competitor, you're very competitive, very competitive pricing. So there's absolutely no reason to go somewhere other than to Dan for these items, because he's price competitive, has the skill and the ability to build high quality products with high quality wood.
Yeah.
So if you're going to go and buy something online that he can do for you, then that's just you're just not thinking right. I'm sorry, you're just not thinking right, because you're not going to get a better price, and you're right here in town working for a veteran that can make sure that you have the quality and the satisfaction that you're expecting.
And exactly what you want.
Yep. So and whatever. And I mentioned items that you feature on your website, but like Eric asked you earlier, you can pretty much do anything.
Anything. If it has to do with wood, I can pretty much build just about anything.
Okay.
That doesn't matter how big, how small, we can do it.
Now, if somebody doesn't, let's say somebody wants something made, but they don't have the income or the free money to pay for maybe the more expensive woods or something like that. Would you be able to maybe advise them on how they could downsize a little bit, or would you want to even go that direction? Or
Absolutely. So, I mean, there's all kinds of different types of woods out there, and there are a lot of people on budgets, and I'm mindful of that. So, if I ever do a quote for somebody, it's, I generally do, this is a high end, this is middle end, this is low end.
Okay. To give them that option.
That option, yeah.
Okay. And then they can decide, okay, if this is what you want, this is what I can do for you.
Yep.
But the next step's a little better.
Yep.
And it's all the good same craftsmanship. It's
Same
just
craftsman, just different materials.
different materials. Yeah.
Different materials hold up differently to whatever the application is. So.
And everybody knows wood's expensive.
Wood's been crazy the last couple of years. I think we're starting to see a little bit of a dip, but it's still pretty high.
What was it? It was just maybe a year or two ago when they had the big issue about, going and buy wood, and the prices had quadrupled overnight, and it's like, okay. And that was for simple wood. The prices went way up.
Yeah, it's been pretty bad. Yeah.
So, are we getting any comments out there, Eric, co-host? Anything so far?
We have gotten a couple.
Okay.
Obviously, we have some good genes up here. Obviously, so we got that in the comment.
Some good genes?
Yeah. How do y'all get so good looking? You see that up there?
No, I don't have my glasses on. Really? Oh, right there. Oh. Well, thank you.
Thanks, Tim.
I don't know. I think he doesn't have his glasses on. Well, we must be talking about Dan here, because Dan's the good-looking one.
Yeah.
And then Kathy had a comment about another chair.
Okay.
Hey, Kathy, reach out. I'll definitely be happy to build you one.
Okay. Yeah. So, what else? What else can you tell? How long have you been doing this?
So, all right. So I retired from the military in 2013. yeah, I did woodworking as more of a hobby and just doing things for friends and family. And a lot of my friends and family was telling me, you know, you're too good just to do this. So why don't you start a business? It's something I've always talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Want to do. It's kind of like my American dream, right? Of owning your own business, being your own boss, being in the army for
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
24 plus years, and you kind of want to try things out on your own and see what you can do. So I started the business, opened up in 2018 out of my garage, and been doing it ever since. I've been doing art in a park every year, so I'm out there. That's probably where most people have seen me, out in art park, and doing those types of things here in Sierra Vista. Um, you know, I've got hopes and dreams of one day of being able to grow and opening up a brick and mortar store and a wood shop, and I've got so many different ideas to kind of, you know, I think one of the things that Sierra Vista needs is a trade school. We want to have a trade school.
Yes.
You know, we need carpenters, we need masons, we need, you know, mechanics, we need those kinds of, you know, electricians, plumbers, those kind of trades things. And I love teaching. I love teaching woodwork. So that's kind of one of the dreams of mine that I kind of hopefully that I'll be able to get to in my lifetime.
You have hit on a favorite topic of mine. Now, my own kids didn't follow any of my advice, but I tell a lot of young people today, learn a trade.
Yeah.
Learn a trade, because first of all, not a lot of people are learning those trades anymore. You're going to make top dollar. I mean, I had an electrician I hired once. It was $80 for an hour. $80 for an hour. I mean, that's good money. $80 an hour for an electrician. So you're going to make a good income. You're always going to have work if you learn a trade, especially something that you enjoy and you're passionate about. And you're not going to have the competition. So few young people are learning, you know, how to do these things, and have those skills, you know, to work under somebody like Dan that can, you know, who's a craftsman that can teach you. That would be a great idea, is to have something right here locally for young people to go into and say, okay, I'm not interested in going to college and it's expensive to go to college. I'm going to learn a career.
Yep.
A trade that's a career. Yeah. That's a great idea. I love that idea. The other thing I want to point out is I think Dan's a perfect example. Any of you veterans out there. Now, we all kind of, you mentioned the American dream, and it is true. Yeah. I think we all kind of grow up as like, wow, one day I'd like to be my own boss and do my own thing, something I enjoy. You know, instead of, I think the difference between labor and work.
Right.
Labor is where you have to go to a job that you're laboring and you're not really thrilled about. Work is actually something you're passionate about and that you enjoy, and it's fulfilling, and 8 hours fly by. I imagine when you're working in your shop, I can visualize now that, are you married?
I am.
Okay. I can visualize your wife's going in, are you ever going to come in out? You've been out here for 7.5 hours and oh, really? Am I right?
That is exactly right. She literally has to come in and says, hey, you need to come in and eat.
Yeah.
You need to come in and do this.
Yeah, because you just get lost.
I do.
The time just flies away.
Yep.
That's what you want. That's the kind of work that you want. So you veterans out there, Dan's a good example. If you've got a dream and maybe you just don't think it's possible, you're like, I'd love to do this or I'd love to do that, something I enjoy, and you're thinking to yourself, but I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to get started. A lot of times the best way to get started is just right out of your home.
Yep.
And then that way you can test the waters. it's while you're testing the waters to see if this is something that people are interested in, you're teaching yourself that skill while you're testing the waters. You can start on a home basis, and then if it grows and flourishes down the road, you might end up owning your own business. So if you're a veteran out there and you've got one of those dreams, and I'll tell you right now, this group, the Warrior Healing Center veteran network that we have built will help you. Any one of us. Am I right, Eric?
That's true.
Yeah. We've all done different businesses. Dan, we'll give you advice. We'll tell you the do's and the don'ts and the things we've learned and mistakes we've made.
Yep.
Like, oh, that didn't work out real good. So, I mean, we're here. I mean, at the Warrior Healing Center. I mean, I'm sure any one of us in our business network would be more than glad to give you some advice and point you in the right direction. So I think that's an important lesson from you, Dan, is that, you got a dream or your passion. It's all doable.
It's all doable.
It's all doable.
Yeah.
And maybe you got to start out small and simple, but it can grow, So
Absolutely.
yeah. I hope you open that. And we need a whole furniture shop in this town.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd really love it. So if anybody out there, you think that, a outdoor kind of patio kind of storefront is something Sierra Vista needs, let me know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's plenty of locations available. It'd just be, you have to be assured that you're going to have the demand.
Yep.
Basically. So, and that comes with support out there. So,
There's a couple of questions.
We do have a couple questions. Kathy came back and said, any woodworking injuries that you've experienced?
Well, yeah. I don't think you could be a woodworker and not have an injury or two. One of the main ones that come to mind is, wood, any kind of wood has what's called stresses. So as the tree grows and wind blows it, the tree tends to build stresses in the fibers of the wood. And it's hard to see when you have just a piece of wood lying out in front of you. But as soon as you start cutting into that wood, that releases the stress. And one of the things that happened to me was I was cutting a piece of wood on the table saw, and it kicked the wood right back into my stomach. Put a big huge bruise and a gash into it. It happens. I mean, there's a lot of tools out there that can help with safety and things like that. But it happens. It sanded off the part of my finger once, just because I wasn't paying attention. But yeah, there's just a couple. Just a couple of injuries. Nothing major. I still have all my
serious.
digits. Still have all my digits. So I'm counting myself lucky.
Yeah. Well, safety first.
That's right.
How many times you hear that in the Army?
That's right.
Right. You got to carry that off. Don't give up that part of your military background. Safety first. Safety first. But
That's right.
yeah, and obviously, if you ever did have the school, I mean, that would have to be a big emphasis.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that go into that to make sure that all the machinery and everything that you use is the safest out there. I mean, they have things that will automatically shut off if it feels or has a flesh to it, and just the whole mechanics of how it needs to be set up to make sure everything is safe.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that goes into it.
Wow. So we got another question?
We do have another one. Tim writes, what makes the difference between regular made in China furniture and quality last for a lifetime furniture?
So I'll give you my opinion on it. And those of you that have probably bought made in China stuff, it's probably already apparent. First off, quality of the wood. A lot of times that stuff is made out of particle board that doesn't hold screws very well, or if it gets moisture in it, which even just humidity can loosen up those fibers and pull things out. So that's one thing. The other thing is really the joints, how it's actually put together. Wood has stressors on it if you're going to do a shelf, right? Shelves should only be so long before they need to be braced. And, made in China, they want to do the most they can get. And what you'll end up seeing is those boards start warping with too much weight on it, things like that. So they don't spend the extra money to brace those things and make them solid. So that's just my opinion, Tim. I don't know if it was helpful or not.
Now you say that, I know my wife's listening probably. What you just described, we actually have a piece of furniture in our shop, and it's not a cheap piece of furniture, but the shelves are long, and they do have weight on them, and there is a little bit of a bow because they didn't do any extra support in the center.
Yep.
They got the support on the ends and in the back, but not in the front or in the center. And it's like, they're not going to fall on me, are they?
I don't know, but after years and years of use, all that wear and tear, eventually it's going to fail somewhere.
It takes its toll. Yeah. So yeah, I've seen that firsthand. The one that drives me crazy is when you go really cheap and you buy a shelf, for example, and it's one of those shelves you have to put together. Comes in a box, and the backing is cardboard.
Right.
It's got that cardboard with the little nails that you got to tack it in, and as soon as you build it, you're like, this shelf's going to last me maybe a year.
Yeah.
You're like, and because, yeah, and this cardboard backing is going to kind of keep it from being wobbly, and they get wobbly after a while.
Wobbly, yeah. Everything starts working loose.
So, and it's a big difference. I think a lot of things in our society, we've gone that way of cheap disposable. I'm going to buy it. It's real low cost. It's not going to last. I think there's lots of examples. Coffee pots, I probably buy a new coffee pot almost every year because I buy one. They're real inexpensive, but then after a while, they start giving you problems. And you're like, okay, I'm just going to go buy a new coffee pot, Now, this year, my daughter did buy me a more expensive coffee pot for Christmas.
Yeah.
And
so lasts you longer.
I hope so, because she paid a lot more money for this one than the ones but I used to just get the simple ones, but it's like, and then I would have them in the garage. Like, oh, I got 3 old coffee pots in the garage, but now we got a good one. Yeah. So hopefully, but I think a lot of things in our society, even clothes, we're buying stuff and we're like, oh yeah, this is really a good bargain. This is really cheap. But in the long run, you're actually spending a lot more money because it's disposable. You're buying it 2-3 years later, you're throwing it away, putting it in a garage sale, trying to get rid of it, buying new. And it's that idea of constantly spending your money on the same things over and over.
Yep.
I think it's done on purpose. What do you think? You think this is all by design, Eric? It's like, to keep us going and buying things over and over. And
have you ever shopped at IKEA?
No, I haven't. No.
Everything's by design.
Yeah, everything. So, and that, yes, save up your money. Save up your money. Buy a quality piece of furniture, solid, beautiful wood. You're going to enjoy it more. Because it's a good piece of furniture to begin with, of quality wood. It's going to be a lot more pleasant to the eye, and you've got something that's going to last you a lifetime, and maybe even more, a hand-me-down even, and that type of quality. So Dan's demand to get a hold of. How do we get a hold of you, Dan?
So you can go to my website, anteloperunwoodshop.com. I've got Facebook page as well out there. Same thing, Antelope Run Woodshop. You can get to any of those. Has my location, my address, my phone number on it. I don't hide anything. You can call me anytime. Shoot me a note on email. It's Dan at anteloperunwoodshop.com. I try to keep it simple, even though it's gone long.
Yeah.
But it's all the same.
Yep. Our emails the same way, long but easy to remember.
That's right.
Actually, it's easy to remember, but it is long. Type it all in and then hit save so you don't have to type it again.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah, Antelope Run Woodwork
Woodshop.
Antelope Run Woodshop, right here in Sierra Vista. We have craftsmen that are right here that live among us, veterans that can do quality woodwork at more than fair prices, more than competitive prices. I check all this out and I can verify it's high quality stuff, very well priced. We have another comment here. Are you inspired to create your own designs, or do you like to get in your groove and
Perfect.
Yeah.
Tried and true. So I say I'm a little bit of both. I am not I'm not very creative, if you will, if that makes sense. Like, so many people have this very innate artistic ability. I don't have that. But I have the ability to look at something and figure out a way to improve it, if that makes sense, from a design aspect, either making it stronger, making it a little more appealing, or more functional.
Okay, that's a pretty honest answer. That's a good honest answer. So, I like that. So, Eric, do you have any questions for Dan?
I got some coming up. First, Michael Zier came in, said dreams are achievable. He loves music, became a DJ, love it for 30 years, so live your dream.
Ooh, nice.
Nice.
Thank you, Michael.
Yeah.
Good comment. Yeah.
And I got a two-parter question. It's like a this and that. First part, what is your favorite type of wood to work with? Second part, what is the most difficult type of wood that you've worked with?
Ooh, good question.
My favorite type is probably cedar. I love the smell of cutting or sanding cedar. It's just got a great smell to it. But the most difficult wood I've worked with is African ebony. Super dense wood. Literally, I go through a saw blade just by cutting it once.
Wow. Really?
It's like iron, and it's about as heavy as iron.
What color is it? Dark?
It's very dark. It's black. It's a very dense and very hard wood. Yeah.
It sounds gorgeous though.
It's beautiful. I think I have a shot of on my Facebook page. I did a table, a live edge table out of African ebony for a client once, and it turned out absolutely gorgeous. But yeah, that was by far the hardest, most difficult wood that I had to deal with. Yep.
Now, is that something that Clyde would have at his shop even?
I think I know Clyde has ebony. I don't know if he has African ebony or not. He's got just about every darn kind of wood out there.
But is this the kind of wood you have to order sometimes from like a specialty
yeah, and
distributor?
there's distributors out there around the United States where you can reach out and kind of get that wood from. Yeah.
Expensive?
But you're going to pay for it.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, this sounds like expensive wood.
It is extremely expensive.
And then if it's heavy, the shipping was expensive too.
Mhm.
You have to pay for the shipping. Yeah. So, and that's another thing. I don't think I have a friend that I work with on post that has a wood shop in his garage, and does more of a hobby. But who knows? Maybe one day he'll decide to do some business with it. But one thing he pointed out, people always think about the cost of the wood, the materials, and they think about the labor, when you're doing quality work, there's a lot of time involved. But he also pointed out you're replacing tools. Because you just said that, you cut this wood and you got a new saw blade.
Yep.
Okay, I need a new saw blade. So you're constantly replacing things. You're, different saw blades and things like that. So there's an added expense involved there, wear or tear on your
Wear and tear,
equipment.
yep.
And
Yep.
so,
Always buying sandpaper and glue and screws. Yeah, it
and
just keeps adding up.
stuff you don't think about unless you do that kind of work.
Yep.
Like what's involved in this project. One idea, you talked about the school. I don't know, maybe this is something down the road, an idea too for a business. Is I thought, say for example, like me, I would like to work with wood and I want to do a project. I want to do it myself, but I'm not going to go out and spend tens of thousands, and I don't think I'm exaggerating,
Mhm.
tens of thousands of dollars on tools for a single project.
Correct.
I'm not going to do it.
Yep.
But if there was a place like your school where I could go in and say, hey, can I rent
Yep.
the facility, for, per hour or whatever, I'm going to come in on Saturdays or whatever, some kind of arrangement where I could rent and go in and build this thing myself with your coaching maybe, or with maybe with a guide and say, okay, oh, no, that's not how you use the table saw.
Yep.
Yeah,
I've absolutely thought about that idea.
Have you?
It's called. We had a lot of those around the country, around the United States. They're called maker places.
Maker places.
Yeah, maker places. So a lot of
So I'm
people
not
wanna-
crazy.
No,
Oh.
if you wanted to build a table, right? You don't have the machinery to do, to do that kind of stuff, or most people don't. So you can find these places, maker places, and you have the equipment. You go in, some classes on the machinery, and then you can use them for, whatever the rent fee is, to help that in. I've done that a lot with woodworkers in town, other woodworkers out there who maybe don't have the machinery that I do. They'll come and just use my machinery. I'm
Okay.
always open to that. I'm always open to helping other woodworkers in any which way I can.
So you do that right now then? Okay. I thought it was kind of a different idea, but it's not. It's something that's already being done. You're already doing it.
Yeah, it's not part of the business because the insurance would be crazy on
Right.
that, but
Yeah. Okay. Because I was kind of thinking like commissary kitchens. People are always looking for these commissary kitchens where maybe you're a home baker, but you're going to sell some stuff at the, farmer's market, and you have to have a, health inspected kitchen.
right.
And those are real in demand. So I was thinking, well, a wood shop that you could go to and say, hey, I want to build something myself, but I don't know how to use these tools. I don't have the tools. I'm not sure if I know how to use all of them. And they could actually not only rent the facility, but basically rent your expertise too.
Right.
And say,
Yep.
yep. But yeah, you'd safety first though.
Safety first. That's it.
Safety first.
That's it.
So, all right.
We do have another question. Let's see if I can word this correctly. All right, let me see if I can find it. Sorry, this is taking so long. Okay. Which wood smells the best to work with, and do you find it therapeutic?
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, I mean, cedar is probably the one that I love to work with the most because of the smell of cedar. It's just for me, a pleasant smell. Whereas there's some other woods out there, walnut for one, it's not smell good. It's just got a bad smell. And there's actually some woods out there who have some toxicity to them. So you got to make sure you're wearing a respirator when you're kind of working with those types of woods. But,
Okay.
yeah.
So did you ever make yourself a cedar chest? I wonder.
I have never made myself a cedar chest.
I would think you would have done that.
Nope, sure have not.
Yeah.
You know, my wife has a ton of to-do lists. She's got her to-do list,
Uh-huh.
and it's long, and there's not very many checked off. I think most probably business owners can probably have that same feeling. You can never get to the things that
Yeah.
that you want to do because you want to grow the business and do
Right.
those things.
Is that on her list by any chance? A cedar chest?
I don't know if I don't think a cedar chest is on her.
Yeah.
On her.
Maybe
She wants.
Okay, a little cedar box
She
in.
wants.
Yeah.
She wants a lot of furniture.
Yeah. I agree with you. The smell of cedar wood is wonderful.
Yeah, it's just great. It's just a good smell.
Because if you ever do, have a cedar chest or one of those little cedar boxes, and you open it up, when you first open it, you're like, oh man, yeah.
Yep.
You get that aroma of the cedar. It is very therapeutic, I think. Yeah. So,
So how much equipment and tools would someone?
ooh,
Really,
That's a-
if you really, it doesn't take a lot of tools to begin woodworking. It really doesn't. Literally, you can start with a handsaw and a hammer and some nails, and you can build a birdhouse. You can do all kinds of different things with just that. Obviously, those things are a lot harder to control and make sure that there's an exact 90-degree angle on your projects and things, but you can literally start woodworking with that. One of the things that a lot of people have done is it's kind of like a big craze right now is their lanterns made out of cedar pickets. You cut a jack-o'-lantern face on it, and you put one of those teacup lights in it, or LED lights in it, and you have yourself a Halloween lantern.
oh, there you go.
Just like that.
Real simple.
Take you 10 minutes and cut up some pieces of wood,
Yeah.
and you're done. So it doesn't take a lot. Most small woodworkers who, like myself, when I started off, it was a table saw, a miter saw, and some regular hand tools, jigsaw, and things like that, and I was able to do pretty much just about anything I needed to do. But as I progressed to make sure that the quality of what I was doing and getting the accuracy that I needed in my woodworking, I had to start stepping up into different kinds of equipment.
So again, I mean, you could start off very simple.
Yep.
And I know even my wife likes to do crafts, and she had a little project recently that involved cutting some wood, and we didn't have a miter saw. We don't have a miter saw. I got a circular saw, but I needed to cut these pieces at an angle. She bought this little miter board. It was just a simple little board. It wasn't very expensive, but you could turn it to the degree you needed to make your cut.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, okay, that'll work. I don't have a miter saw, but this little board worked, So it was a very inexpensive way because it was a simple project. I didn't want to go out and buy a miter saw for this one project.
Right.
So yeah, simple ways to do things if you want to just kind of get started.
Yeah. And as you grow, you're always trying to, they always say time is money.
Mm-hmm.
So you may be buying more equipment to make things go quicker. So you have more time to get to more projects and things like that. It's one of the reasons why I bought my CNC to it's kind of like an employee. So it can do things while I'm doing other things.
Oh, that was on your website.
Yeah.
You got to talk about this more because that thing's elaborate.
Yeah. So I just purchased a 4x8 CNC, and a CNC stands for computer numeric controller. It's essentially a techie name for a computerized router, and it allows me to cut very large things. I can just about any kind of wood, plastics, aluminums, brass, anything that's non, what do they call it, non-ferrous. Like steel and stuff. I can't do steel or any of that, but aluminum and brass I can certainly do in the metals. But what it basically does is I program kind of what I want it to cut, and it'll do it for me.
Yeah.
And I can walk away and do something else. So, one of the things that I'm branching into is I'd like to start catering to other businesses out there who need parts, who need, a steady flow of parts, or they want to prototype something. I can, if you have a part and you want me to replicate it, I can do that. I have a digitizing system where I can digitize it, put it into my software, and then cut it out. If you have a corbel, a special corbel or something like that in your house, or you've got a bracket for your vehicle, we can do that right out of aluminum. Doing kitchen cabinets, closets. I just purchased some pretty expensive to do custom cabinetry and closets and entertainment centers and things like that.
So now we got technology involved.
That's right. So that's one of the things, a lot of people think woodworking is for the older crowd. But, technology and computers are becoming part of woodworking. And there's always that argument. Well, is it really woodworking if you're using a computer?
But
it is, because you have to still understand what the wood does when you're cutting it and how things need to work together in order to actually design it.
Yeah, but I looked up this CNC thing when I saw it on your website because I didn't know what it was, and then I saw where you could have a door, because this is big enough for a door, solid wood door, and this thing will cut a design, even a picture. You could I want a lion head or something on your door, and it will cut a perfect lion head.
It'll do
on
3D
your door.
designs, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah. So really elaborate stuff from this machine. You could do some pretty elaborate woodwork. And the nice thing is you invested in the machine, so it's going to cut back man hours.
Yes.
Because you imagine trying to do the same thing would probably be, a ridiculous amount of money just in the man hours. And you can say, okay, I can cut that because now I got a machine that does it for me. Of course, you have to pay for the machine. So you guys still charge for it.
It's the only one that I know of in Sierra Vista.
Really? Okay. So again, just amazing. And every time I have a guest on this show, I like to do a little research before you come on. And I get started and I go down these rabbit holes. And I'm like, and next time I'm like, wow, there's a lot more going on in Sierra Vista than I know. I got to get, I'm like a lot of you. I got to get out of my bubble. I really do. My wife's a lot better because she runs the store on a daily basis and she keeps track more of, what's in town and, who's who and, what businesses there are, and then, of course she has people come in the store and she finds, oh yeah, I met this guy today who's a plumber, or this guy does this. So she's better than I am, but all of us are a little bit guilty, get out of our little bubbles. We go to work every day and we go home, and there's a lot of stuff going on and not just Sierra Vista, I'm going to say Cochise County, period, So I think we got another pop-up question. Am I right, Eric? There's another one. Is this a...
It's not a 3D skill saw. It's a wood router that basically has a X and Y and a Z axis. So it goes up and down, it goes side to side. And it, based on how I have it designed, it'll cut the wood exactly how I want it to be cut.
Okay, well, thank you. All right. So pretty exciting stuff. Oh, okay. Another one here. I joined the party late. So if this was Can you read it?
Sorry. So how long does it take on average from start to finish? I'm assuming you're talking about a chair. How long does it take to build a chair? So I'll just go off of that. When I first started, it would take me about a day to do a chair, about 8 hours, roughly. Now that I've kind of bought some new machinery and things like that, I've gotten the chair down to about 2 to 3 hours. It takes me from milling the lumber all the way to a finished product.
Which was able to make your prices more competitive.
Yes.
Because again, you're getting paid by the hour. You got to charge for
You've
the
gotta-
hours.
yeah. Otherwise, you're not running a business.
Yeah. You can't, unfortunately, that's not true in the beginning. For a lot of small businesses, you work for free.
For free,
You know. Me and my wife know how that is. It's where you can spend a lot of time working for free, or sometimes you even lose money in the beginning.
Right.
You know,
Absolutely.
that's but the goal is, to be able to make a living, doing what you love.
Right.
That's the ultimate goal. Sometimes it takes time to get there. But any more comments, Eric? I think we're almost time to wrap it up.
We are out of comments, so it is time to start wrapping her up.
Okay. Do you have any comments back there? You've been quiet with your new toy of being able to. And I like the sign you got behind you. You got a background. I like
Wears a
that.
uniform.
Honor wears a uniform. I like that. Okay. So not just a blank wall behind Eric. That's a good addition. So we still don't have our Navy up here, other than that hat. So I don't know if any Navy veterans out there watching. I mentioned it before. You might want to bring in a Navy shirt. See if we can hang it up, or maybe we'll hang it up behind Eric. so all right.
Yeah, we're gonna have to give him a little bit of love since we got everything over there. At least have one huge Navy thing over here. So any Navy vets, anybody, let's get your name out there. So,
There you go.
no, come on, send it in, bring it to the front desk. We're more than happy to put it up here for you.
Okay. Any other comments from you, Dan?
No, I just really appreciate I appreciate you and Eric doing this. I appreciate Warrior Healing Center for kind of bringing us together and bringing this network together. I would have never had an opportunity like this if it wasn't for them.
Yeah. And we always want to thank the Warrior Healing Center. Don't forget about them. They're here. They do incredible work in Sierra Vista, and again, I should say Cochise County, because we're Cochise County wide organization, and that goes for the veteran network as well. I mean, you don't have to be in Sierra Vista. If you're in Bisbee or Tombstone or Benson, you're welcome to join our group and maybe be on the show someday. Again, every Thursday, 5 p.m. here at the Warrior Healing Center, we're on about promoting veteran-owned businesses and veterans doing great things in the community. So we've got already some more shows lined up. The rest of this month is booked. We've got people.
What do we got next week?
We Eric, you ask me that every week. We don't disclose that.
How you swirl around with that one.
You're going to try to get me. I know you're going to try to get me off guard one day, and I'm going to blurt it out. But we don't want to tell, because we want you to come back to the show next week, and you're going to have to find out by watching the show. We got a big one next week. I mean, this one's going to. I mean, I've had a lot of good shows so far. I really have. And next week's just as good, if not better. It's going to be exciting, what we're going to talk about next week. So look forward to that. And thank you, Dan, for coming on board.
Yeah, thank you.
And thanks, and welcome to the group, the network. You bet.
And everyone, as always, remember, enjoy this conversation that we had, share this conversation so that not only you can enjoy it, but people on your page can enjoy it as well. Like it, comment. Always go back and check them out to see if there's anything we missed or whatever. We'll be more than happy to answer it. Pay attention to this thread. And tune in next week, Thursday at 5. We have another veteran-owned business lined up, ready to go.
All right.
And that's all I got.
Thank you, Eric.
All right.
We'll end on that note. Good night.
Thank you, everybody.
I'm